Probably the closest thing to bending I'm gonna get. Anyway, hey everybody, this is Retrokid Reviews doing a standing, I guess, vlog style review for the 2024 adaptation Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender. Sorry in advance that it took over a week to get my proper thoughts of it. I wanted to make sure I'm waiting for everybody's usual video essays and stuff like that. Rules of the road. I sat through the majority of all 8 episodes. I'm misremembering most of the season's finale, but starting off at the top, let's get to the Team Aang casting and most of the general casting itself since we're here. Gordon Counter, if I got his name right, like always, IMDb down below for the whole cast. Is leagues better than the last time? I forgot the kid's name from the original M. Night Shyamalan adaptation, so that's mainly the real reason why I'm doing this review is it at the bare minimum better than the movie? Yes. Is it better than the show proper? Not exactly. We'll get to that when we get to that. However, for the rest of the casting, yeah, for Ian Olaski, if I got his name right, and that's a big no. Sorry for that for Asaka's actor, and, can't pronounce the name for the life of me. Katara's actor, teaming is absolutely done a little bit justice. It's still a little, too early to tell on, Ian's, adaptation of, Sokka, but honestly, it could be worse as far as things go. Again, if I ever get around to doing a review of the movie, you'll probably know why. At some point, getting to the point here, Cast IMDb is right here, literally, because I don't want to get this wrong. My takeaways from the show proper, it's good enough. There's still moments where it's still trying to feel like the previous adaptation. There's still moments where it's trying to be over expositioned a little too much, kind of like I think when Friendly Space Ninja was doing his comparisons to that Percy Jackson reboot. Go to his full video essay there. So my big takeaways is not really much. For the pilot, it goes a little bit different than how the original pilot of the cartoon went. You get a little more time seeing Aang's life in like the Air Nomad temple before it got destroyed by the Fire Nation. There might have been some changes to how he left the Nomad temple before the Fire Nation strike. More important, let's get to effects first before we get to the rest of the plot. The bending is infinitely better than the movie 14 years ago, and it definitely shows. I think the benders that got it the best effects-wise, I think, is Fire Nation, Water Tribe, and I believe most of the Earth Nation got way better effects as time went on. For Gordon himself as Aang, this is pretty much where I'm gonna go and say this is where a lot of people are doing their comparisons to like One Piece's adaptation from last year. He is definitely Aang. He is absolutely close enough to what you remembered him from the from cartoon. I know there was comics over the years, obviously from Boom Studios, and I think Netflix is planning to do, in part with Mike and Brian, the original creators of the cartoon, to do the adult Aang years that were in the beginnings of Republic City during the core timeline. Can you tell I'm this deep into being an Avatar fan that I'm knowing this off the cuff without having to have a IMDb help me here? Awesome as always. Speaking of Korosami, I don't know if this casting helped Daniel Day Kim's adaptation of Fire Lord Ozai, but my best guess, maybe, who really knows? He was Asami's father in that Avatar Lights series, and long story short, I think he might have been a background actor in the original cartoon proper, and if that's the case, that's pretty cool. On to Azula Elizabeth Yu's adaptation of the character. She's doing okay what she can with the material. Keep in mind, book 1 is the least amount of Azula you're going to get for a while until later down the road in the series. So it makes sense to use her sparingly, discussing, and probably, if this is any justification for most of the exposition, it makes sense on Azula's end, preparing her time in the series, if anything else. And same thing with, since we're talking about the Fire Nation here, yeah, Fire Lord Ozai had a lot more, it was a little more, shown here in the first season. I'm kind of bleeding over to what, Space Ninja was saying, so let me know if it's a little plagiaristic, my bad in advance if it is. But he's not off the base there. You do get more mystery with him in the cartoon. He was originally voiced by, I think, Mark Hamill at the time. And, yeah, you're missing that presence of, like, mystery to the character, but, Day Kim is doing the best of what he can, and you can definitely tell. I want to get to the Avatar, temples themselves. I don't know if this is a change to the cartoon, but if so, it's probably for the better. because yeah, a lot of Kyoshi Warrior and Kyoshi Avatar stands have basically been eating up with decent representation of her as end of the Earth Nation's storylines, if anything else, especially with the Kyoshi Warrior stuff. For the actors that play Kyoshi herself, to do the Avatar state and take over Aang fully, I don't know if that's a change for the cartoon, but I think it's a change for the better. If anything, you get a more preview to like other previous avatars that they'll probably won't get around to doing a proper adaptation of. The one I hope they do, probably when they get around to Korra eventually, is if they do Justin Yen. Sorry, wow, my bad. The guy from Beefs, Mark himself, his voice actor, come out, do a live action version of the first Avatar. Wow, I'm feeling like shit because I just saw him get his Screen Actors Guild Award and it was very emotional. I guess the only card so far for this video. My bad, Advance. Wow, it's been a minute. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, back on casting. Oh, Iroh. Yeah, Paul Sung Young Lee. Fantastic. Yeah, for a background character actor that I last saw here on the channel with my Mandalorian reviews, and I think that pitched to like a Rangers of the Republic that never happened thanks to because of Gino, as of course. Yeah, he looks good. Again, almost all the casting, the effects, down to the backdrop. There is moments you can tell it was done in the volume because, again, this show was probably the last few shows that got shot during COVID, and you can definitely tell at moments. The CG is hit or miss. Sometimes it hits, sometimes you can definitely see it being wonky. They might improve it down the road in future seasons, again, hopefully when they get the Toph, for book 2, so here's hoping there. And yeah, getting back on, I guess, me trying to be a huge, Earthbender stand. Yeah, Omashu was done justice. Like, Yukara of, I think, last mentioned in, Critical Role content. Oh, never. He did a couple of guest spots in, when the party got separated early on in campaign 3. Go to my previous video talking about campaign 3. He's actually a pretty good character actor. I think he's headlining mostly that Ghost CBS series here in the States, don't know internationally. I know it's a US adaptation of the UK show. More importantly, he's boomy. And aside from some disjointed stuff with the costuming, you can definitely tell. But he still makes it work. I'm going to be honest, that's actually not bad. Normally this is the part where I try to explain that whole, Mercury, Pepe Celia whiteboard thing that she was doing all weekend long. I think last week when she was binging the show. Go to her socials, like I said, in the Critical Role, video. Yeah, she's had a fun time just discussing the pros and cons of what changed and what is probably good change for the better. Ultimately, I think my final thoughts, I'm trying to keep this generalized in case you want to see the show yourself. The only episodes that was a bit of a slump for me was the final 3 episodes when Aang and the gang finally got to the Northern Water Tribe. And if anyone told me the guy that played Tuco from Breaking Bad was going to be their elder that was going to have to do the showdown with Katara to prove her warrior status, I would be crazy. And I would be even crazier because, yeah, like I said, all throughout the season, Aang was going through most of the Avatar temples to basically get a better connection to the state, let alone a better connection to his previous lives. And nobody, and myself, probably thought, as far as casting goes for his previous life, which was Fire Nation at the time, was going to be Masuku from Dexter being Avatar Roku. My apologies for not getting his name in time. I'll leave it in the description as always. But yeah, I was kind of pinching myself at moments. I'm like, wait, is that the guy I knew? Wow. Like, there was a lot of good casting choices, long story short. That's the biggest pro for me. Ultimately, yeah, it's still good. It's better than the movie. This is where I'm getting into final thoughts. It's still better than the movie, but I'm just gonna generalize and agree with everyone that they still got a long way to go. They're not out of the woods yet, being up to snuff with the cartoon. You could definitely tell there was probably episodes that probably showed when the original creators had their departure from producing this series, if anything. Ultimately, I'm hoping for the best, and definitely not the worst at this point. It's better than I thought. I think that's what everyone's been saying. I just hope it doesn't, dip in quality as time goes on. So, Judgment Time, overall thoughts. 6 out of 10. Again, it could have been a lot weirder at times. It could have been a lot more over-expositioned at times. Again, go to Space Ninja's video essay discussing that whole thing. Also, Corey does things. I think the fandom, I guess, lady I've been mentioning sometimes, did a good how the whole fandom felt when the show was new last week. So, your Miles Rivera, which video you want to get a generalized opinion of how it is. It's okay. It's serviceable. I just wish this season was more of a background fodder just to motivate you to finally sit through the cartoon if this is your first time. I'm kind of at that kind of opinion basis, I guess, that One Piece fans were last year. This is my final thoughts also. Yeah, I think it will help, not hurt the fandom more. It's more exposure, if anything, for the series now almost getting to be 20 years old, I think, come next year. A lot is going to happen for the 20th anniversary. You're going to get, I think, if the creators are right, they're still going to go forward to get an animated either movie or mini series of like Aang's time building Republic City. We're still gonna get the new Avatar. I think in life cycle wise is going to be the Earthbender, so awesome there. If I'm still gonna keep my Earthbender credits in the fandom, hopefully. Ultimately, it's up to you if you want to do the series as your first go around. If you never saw the cartoon, I'll say this: it's better than the Shyamalan movie, but not by much. It still has a long way to go to at least measure up to the cartoon. Maybe down the road in season 2, who knows? Now that it got picked up for it, so who knows? So yeah, that's just my random spectrum of thoughts of the whole thing. As much as I wanted to do a full figure video basic review series here for the figures, I'm gonna save that for my Dune Part 2 review. Because, wow, I gotta generalize a lot about not only the first part, but the 84 movie and probably the book series. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun time here for the channel discussing lore of fandoms I know in passing. So, until then, future video here, probably that review and the edit cards. Previously hand here also to my shorts playlist for upcoming Candela shorts, because I did a big breakdown for episode 86 of Critical Role, Campaign 30. So, again, if not, I'll leave the video there as well. Semi-Water Tribe friendly, I guess, gear here to sub this channel, the notification down below. And if anything else, congratulations to the cast for doing pretty much better than I thought. And ultimately, if there's any harassment happening to this cast, keep in mind they're kids. What are you gonna do? This is where the Stranger Things kids debate was 8 years ago, and I think it's happening again in mostly sporadic parts, not like I guess cast wise. So that's the good news there. If anything, social media wise. Ultimately, it's up to you if you want to sit through the series. So, with that all being said, I'm Retrokid Reviews, wishing I could bend this show to be a little better than it needs to be. But other than that, take care, subscribe, and yeah, when's Toph? Seriously, Netflix, when's Toph? No, really, when's Toph?